Bara walked past rows of dusty volumes stacked on worm-eaten wooden shelves. She really didn't feel like studying just yet. Amy always took ages in tech and probably wouldn't arrive for a while, so why not do a little reading? Picking a random row, she took a left. Her hand grazed firm backs and metallic emboss. She didn't have a book in mind the right one would call out. A tingle, maybe a shock of static, bit at her fingertips, and Bara stopped to see which book her hand had settled on. She found herself in the L's. Taunting her from the shelf, worn and frayed, was an ancient edition of The Magician's Nephew. An invisible curtain hung, isolating the diners from one another. They ate in an oak-paneled dining room at a long oak table. A very long oak table. 3 of the 4 middle leaves had been removed, but it was still too big for just the 3 of them. Mr. Kavanaugh sat at one end with his new wife to his right, his daughter to his left. To Bara, her father felt miles away, her stepmother far too close. There was only one saving grace. A large centerpiece. If Bara slouched, she could almost hide her entire face behind the orange tiger lilies and bright red mums. But there was no real hiding. Not really. Courtney shifted so she could see around the flowers. "Do you like the roast?" she asked. Bara nodded but said nothing. Her dislike for Courtney only grew when she was in her presence, with her perfectly coiffed hair and pink cashmere sweater set. Courtney always wore pink. Bara never wore pink, and not because she was almost a redhead. She hated what she thought of as an insipid shade of red. Pink. The girl color. Why not just wear a sign that said, "Walk all over me, I'm vulnerable and weak"? Without a doubt, pearls would have suited the pink cashmere. Bara's mother always wore pearls. Her mother had a wonderful sense of style, but Courtney for some reason had chosen a simple locket. It was dark silver, but not actually silver, maybe iron. Large and heavy, it was clumsy looking on her slender neck. Courtney looked to her husband, and he gave her a reassuring smile. She reached below the table. Her hands reappeared with a pale pink box with a bright fuchsia ribbon. A little too excitedly, she pushed the box close to Bara. "I was shopping this afternoon," she explained, "and I found this wonderful little bookstore." Bara put down her fork and eyed the box suspiciously. She sighed and removed the lid to reveal a leather-bound edition of The Magician's Nephew. She knew the story well. "I hope you like C.S. Lewis," Courtney chimed happily, sensing her pleasure. And Bara was pleased, but then she remembered how her mother had read the story to her years ago. No way was she going to accept this book from Courtney, the woman who, as far as Bara was concerned, had broken her family in 2. No way. Of course, Courtney couldn't have known the meaning the book would have for her stepdaughter. She was still smiling when Bara thrust it across the table. "I already have a copy. Maybe you can get your money back." Bara returned to eating. After a moment, Courtney got up from the table. "I'll see to dessert," she said, and left the room. Mr. Kavanaugh went to scold Bara, but the look in her eyes. He softened. She needs time to get over the whole thing, he thought. It's just too soon. Breaking the rules of her own game, Bara lifted her hand and reached instead for a copy of The Hideous Strength, lying a little less mockingly on the same shelf. "So there," she retorted to no one but herself. Clasping it to her chest, she made her way back down the aisle. The Magician's Nephew remained untouched on the shelf.